Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Lifestyle with Dr. Moby. I'm Dr. Moby, and today we are honored with great guests. Let's welcome Ashley.
Hi.
Ashley is all the way from California, and we are praying their drought ends soon.
Yes.
We are all praying. The whole nation should pray for you.
Thank you.
And no fires. We don't want any fires.
Yeah.
Okay. So tell me about yourself, Ashley.
So I am a yoga teacher and a children's author. I just published my first children's book yesterday.
Oh, congratulations.
What?
Congratulations, I said.
Thank you very much. I'm quite excited. I'm also a mother of 3.
Very good.
And I have been married for 11 years.
Very good.
So I've been teaching yoga since 2012. And I absolutely love it. I'm also a dog lover. I have 3 dogs that we fit into one of ours. Well, I can't call it a tiny house because that is a certain implication, but it is a smaller house that we fill with love.
Okay, very nice. Well, that is a nice, happy family.
It is.
With 3 dogs, no cats?
No cats. My husband's allergic to cats. So as much as my daughter would love to add a cat to our family, we can't.
We can't. Okay, well, that's fine. And I see that you were also a former intern to the director of at BYU Museum, right?
Yes, when I've worked at Brigham Young University at their Museum of Art as the philanthropies intern. That was a fantastic opportunity, and it actually led me into teaching me how to set up a nonprofit organization, which I have with ASL Junction. So I'm the vice president of ASL Junction. It is a nonprofit that sets up children that are deaf and those who have a desire to learn American Sign Language to help them communicate, both with those who are deaf and hard of hearing and with those that need to utilize it for better communication.
Wow, that is amazing. I mean, a few questions I have about that is, you mentioned about sign language and you said American Sign Language.
Yes.
So, I mean, I'm illiterate on that. So I know sign language a little bit, but I have not seen, are there different sign languages in different countries?
Every country has their own sign language. Yes.
Oh my God. So that would be tough to even do the interpretation, right?
Yes. There's also what is called a universal sign language. It's not quite known. Not everyone knows it, but it is something that can be used to communicate throughout the countries.
So there are certain universal, and then everybody kind of have their own.
Correct.
Oh, wow. That's very interesting. That's very interesting. We thought, all languages are different, but now we thought sign language will also be different.
Yeah. Every sign language is based on their local, how do I say this? Their own local home signs.
Oh, okay. So that is it. And also, now you're very passionate about yoga, and especially for younger folks. Okay.
Yes.
Okay, so tell me about that.
So I started yoga because when I was pregnant with my first child, I had the worst sciatic pain. And one of my coworkers was, she still is, an Iyengar Yoga Teacher. And she showed me, had me do a couple of yoga poses that completely erased my sciatic pain. And she told me after I was done being pregnant and healing to go and find this one Iyengar teacher in my hometown in Bakersfield. I found her and I fell in love. And I've followed that method of teaching. And I I haven't left it. I became certified in it in Iyengar Yoga. And then as my children grew older, I started teaching yoga for children. And I fell in love with the ability to connect with my children. I have bipolar and I'm also OCD. So I had a hard time connecting with my children. I didn't have that natural maternal bond. So through yoga, I was able to create that.
That's very interesting.
So it became very important to me to continue yoga and help other mothers who didn't feel like they had that bond to connect through their children through something as emotional and uplifting as yoga.
And that is the interesting thought. I never thought like that. That if there are the norms, if you're not feeling connected normally, then you can develop, or you can actually share something positive, which you said like yoga is, and your kids appreciate yoga, and you connect through yoga, and you can kind of connect together. Wow, that's amazing. Every day I learn something. So that is interesting. So tell me also about kids learning yoga. Is that certain age, or is they can pretty much start anywhere?
So there are two philosophies towards it. Within the Iyengar system, children officially start learning yoga when they turn 8 years old.
Okay.
That is when their training starts. And we call it, it's a very dynamic method. So they don't hold poses. It's more of a flow, and it's fast, and we don't focus on instructions as much as we focus on fun. We want them to enjoy it. We want them to be moving. We want them to just move and do yoga. Younger than 8 is completely about interaction with parents, interaction with your body. So I do mommy me yoga classes, and I start at infant age, and that's completely about bonding. We sing songs. I've made up yoga rhymes. I've made up yoga songs that we sing in class. I have games. I've made up yoga games that we do with the children in our preschool classes.
Wow, that's interesting.
Sorry.
No, go ahead. So in yoga, one thing I think you were mentioning is that kids can move a lot, right? Or
yes.
So tell me a little bit about, is that because of certain age? Of course, they're hard to control. Then they understand better.
Oh, you want them to move if they're hard to control. If they are being challenging, if they refuse to acknowledge your authority, Mr. Iyengar, who's the guru of the Iyengar form of yoga, his approach is challenge me more. You don't want to listen? Okay, don't listen more. You want to be loud? Okay, be louder.
Wow.
He wants them to act up. He wants them to get their energy out. And he wants them to do more. And so if they're running, okay, run more. You want to do a back bend? Do this back bend. Do it more. Get your energy out. That's part of yoga. That's part of kids' yoga. It's not to restrict. It's not to restrain. It's about moving.
So it is different than adult yoga.
Absolutely. Do not put a kid in an adult yoga class. They do not belong.
Oh, well, see, I did not know anything about that.
They will be bored out of their mind. And a teenager needs a teenager's class. A teenager could be in a kids or an adult yoga class, but they will get bored. They need a different class. They need something aimed at them. So I offer 5 different yoga classes. aimed at different ages.
Mhm. So the first, so you said from age 8 onwards, or it can be less than 8.
So yeah, so 8 to 12 is my elementary age class.
Mhm.
And then I have 12 to 18, which is
Mhm.
my adult yoga class, or is my teenager class.
Okay.
I have a mommy and me, which is up to 4 years old. And then I have a preschool class, which is 4 to 6. And then and that's a mom and toddler group. And then I have 6 to 8, which is a preschool group.
Mhm. So that's all kind of different levels, and you
Those are
said
all
that.
different levels. You don't have to be in the preschool or the toddler group if you want to see if your kid is good in the preschool group or in the preschool group. You can skip that toddler group.
Mhm.
But if your kid acts up in the preschool group, then you are going to have to go down to the toddler group.
Okay, so they are all different classes, and then
All different classes, all different ages,
Mhm.
and each one has a different focus.
Focus. So that focus is different, but there has to be some kind of focus, right?
Yeah, there is a focus, and each one has their own unique course. Each one has their own unique material.
Mm-hmm.
And I create the material myself.
So,
That's kind
but
of the fun part about being a children's author.
yeah, and that is, and I don't remember many of children author on like you are. So, with yoga, right? I've never
No,
met them.
there's some, but most of them focus on writing a book about yoga. And I have that coming out. I
Mm-hmm.
have 2 books that will be coming out in the next couple of months. One is about taking the yoga yamas and niyamas, the values of yoga, and taking them and putting them in a Western point of view. So it is more of a lot, especially in my town. A lot of parents get
Mm-hmm.
very worried when you try to teach yamas and niyamas to their children. They don't like anything that contains Indian, Hindu ideas, because then they're teaching spirituality and religion that is not Christianity to their children. Um, we live in a very conservative city. So what I have done for our community, for this audience, is I've taken those yamas and niyamas, which are basically, they are values that we share. It's not stealing, it's cleanliness, it's not hoarding. Um, these are good values that we all share.
Mm-hmm.
And I've taken them and put them in fables. I've created fables like ones that we grew up with that teach those values. And then I've created this book about them. And so I have 10 stories that teach these values that can be read during classes for people who live in a community like this. And then these children can learn, about the man who didn't take the apple over the tree or from the house that he didn't own, and how that is an example of not stealing, even though no one would have known that he took that apple.
Oh, interesting. So you have changed in a way to kind of more to American culture, or people can relate more than actually they feel that is totally different. Then so there's kind of they are more open to learning, right?
More open to learning. And I've had my illustrator is actually from India.
Mhm.
So I've had some sensitivity writers and sensitivity readers go over it and make sure that I've stayed true to the values, and I haven't taken anything away from the yamas and niyamas, so that I haven't, I don't want to lose what really is behind these.
So the essentially the soul of that,
Yes.
you didn't want to lose that, but you want to kind of make it simpler for folks up here to
Yeah.
relate, as well as they can kind of. Yeah, I think yeah, that's I can understand very well, because that is true. um, this is, or any society, I mean, this is not just about here. Any society where you go, and if those things, they don't change to their inherent population, they tend not to be as generally accepted. That's the reality. Okay. Now, certain nations are more open. I would say
Mhm.
US is, and me being a foreigner, and being here accepted, and I've lived in all parts of US mostly. So I can tell that I think US is probably the most gracious nation on planet Earth. I've been to Middle East, I've been to Europe, I've been to Asia, of course, where I belong to, but I can tell they are more open than, yeah, there will always be some, you know,
Mhm.
but I still think they are more open. You
That's
know.
wonderful to hear.
No, I've been seriously. I went to France. I went to Europe. I was very disappointed. Very, very disappointed. So I'm not against them, but I could not believe that mm, that they are just different when you meet them. So I think the only other nation I would say come close, or at least near, is Switzerland. So
Mm.
Swiss people are very friendly to, they tend to welcome, and you don't feel kind of. So even so, I think that kind of speaks volume. And other thing is for you to to kind of understand or learn yoga, which is kind of away from your learning, is also
Mhm.
speaks volume, right?
It is.
Not many people will be even open to that, entertaining that idea, right? They think
Mhm.
that they might be committing some kind of sin here, right? Okay, so but it is more about core values. It's more about spirituality, or focus on values. It's not about religion. So
Correct. Yes.
that's just a message, everybody watching, they should emphasize that, because I mean, anyone can do yoga. You won't go to hell for doing that. Don't worry.
No, I'm a very Christian
Uh,
person. And as I've learned more and more about yoga, it's really deepened and strengthened my relationship to my God. And I've found that with many other Christians that, again, this is a very Christian, very traditional population here in Bakersfield. Most people that are here find yoga strengthens their relationship to God. And,
mm,
um, the thing I love about yoga is that it's more of a philosophy. Um, you can be whatever religion you want, and
mm,
it will strengthen your relationship to your deity.
mm. Yes, and it's like these things, yoga, and kids also learn karate, or
Mhm.
they there are different arts as well. As it's more about self discipline.
Yep.
It's about tai chi, or it's more,
Hmm.
and then there are a lot of good stuff out there, and it's about kind of finding yourself, actually, discovering yourself, and that you have that talent. You do have that. And it is interesting, like we practice a lot of for pain. We practice, like you said, for sciatica, you did yoga, and that helped your pain, right?
Hmm.
Same people, people practice acupuncture, and that's the Chinese medicine, right?
Yes.
And so that it works also, as well as medication would be.
Hmm.
So it's not about. So I think there is definitely a lot of things which we can learn from others for sure.
Absolutely.
And so also tell me about so anybody who's watching about the parents trying to get yoga. What is some of the resources? You have website, I assume, right?
Sorry.
You have a website where they
Yes, I have a website. It's readandyoga.com.
uh
And on there, I have look at my blog. I have a lot of different websites or a lot of different resources. I just came out with my book. You can see it for download on my website or wait a couple of days. It will be out on Amazon. It's a coloring and activity book um, with instructions on how to do the yoga poses that I wrote.
Okay.
Um, it also has some rhymes, games you can do. It's by far one of my favorite things is an introduction to how I teach yoga. And then I also have a podcast where it's also read and yoga. Everything I do is read and yoga. My podcast takes books that you most likely have, like the Very Hungry Caterpillar, um, Brown Bear,
Mhm.
and I give you a yoga sequence. I give you you take the book, you read the book, and then as you're reading, your child can be doing yoga as you read. So it's a really fun way to do yoga as you're reading a very traditional book. Um, that's one of my resources. And then I'm going to have an app that is coming out within the next month. That is also, it's going to be called Playful Kids Yoga. That'll be coming out in the Google Play Store.
Mhm.
And that will also have very similar resources as my book. So those are some resources that I have right now. The free ones are on my blog. Sorry. I do this when I start self-promoting. My voice gets really shaky.
No
Uh,
worries.
but yeah, those are my main resources. Go to my website, check out, so readandyoga.com. Check out my website. It has a free offering of an ABC yoga resource where it's a sequence where you go through the ABCs and it has a couple of games. It's absolutely fantastic.
Uh, but thank you for giving all that, and it was really a great learning about kids yoga. I had no idea, they all has to be separated because I think we have seen some of the pictures from celebrity, they're doing yoga and their
Mhm.
kids are with them. But you're right, you shouldn't mix kids with that's just maybe good for pictures, but not for it.
Well, typically when celebrities are doing kids with yoga, they are doing it at their children's level. They're
Okay.
they're playing with their kids.
Okay. So they're not kind of okay. I that makes sense.
Yeah, they're playing with their kids and their kids are copying them. It's a
Okay.
really fun practice.
Practice, but it's not that kids yoga like you have class. That's not like that.
Oh no, they're at home, they're playing, and my kids do that all the time with me.
Yeah,
And
of
it's
course.
really fun and so much fun to photograph because
Yeah.
it's just the cutest thing.
That's true. That's true. That is so true. Well, any final thoughts or any final message would you like to convey?
Um, have fun with your kids. Do a yoga pose, get into a habit of, doing a 5-minute yoga sequence, something that you're comfortable with, and see how your children react. Do downward dog and, encourage them to do it and say, good job, you just did downward dog. And then pretty soon they're going to do downward dog on their own. And when they see you do it, they're going to copy you. And then maybe they'll climb under you as you sing London Bridge is falling down. And you're going to find yourself having your own little yoga game.
Okay, very nice, very nice. One question it popped in my mind, and I want to ask you: is there a yoga also with pets
For what?
for pets?
For backs? For back
Pet
pain?
for no, no, for pets, for dogs or cats or.
Oh, yes. I'm actually looking. There's therapy.
Hmm.
Sorry. I'm going to be starting a therapy dog yoga where you have your dog that comes into class and they just roam through. Other people have goat yoga. They have goats just roam through, and you can pet the goat, and it's just a fun little practice.
Hmm.
But yeah, some people bring their cats to class,
Or
and it's a really fun. It's another way to have yoga.
hmm.
Um, if you some people practice with their pets so much that their pets do yoga with them, do downward dog, do upward dog. They just love it.
Yeah, well, that sounds very interesting. Well, thank you for all that information, and everybody should check out. And I find her very, very entertaining also, and very informative. Thank you for giving me all the information. Ashley, take care and stay blessed.
Thank you. Thank you.